So now in COVID with remote working and all tech companies are pretty much allowing most people to now work from home as a right. Uh, how have you as a CTO shifted your habits and behaviors when you manage and lead? And then what are you hearing from your managers and what are their new challenges in this now no more serendipitous hallway conversation culture? How, like
Yeah.
no one's got this right, but like, yeah, how are you going about this, Colin, and your teams?
Boy, again, we've got another 27 hours to talk about this. Um, it's hard. It's happened so fast, and it is happening fast. And you know, culture and societies, you know, evolve over decades, over you know, evolve over millennia, and we've had to evolve, you know, with a gun to our, you know, a metaphorical gun to our head over a few weeks, a few months. There's no experts out of here, and I'm constantly saying to people, beware false prophets. I've seen, you know, so many articles in magazines. This is how to work remotely, or you know, I've worked remotely for the last 2 years, and I'm going to tell you how to do it. No, you've worked remotely when everybody's been in an office. So don't, you know, I'm not doubting that you've got good thoughts and ideas, but I would hate for other folks to take it as just as absolute dogma or gospel. I think there's great input and there's great thoughts and there's great ideas, but beware of false prophets. And these people are not intending to steer folks in the wrong direction. Again, it's just their perspective, their vantage point,
Yeah,
their
there's a lot of
lens is a
opportunists.
little different. Yeah.
Yeah.
So beware of false prophets. Look, one thing Shopify did, you know, a couple of months into lockdown was to say remote work in perpetuity. Not, you know, we're going to figure it out and maybe we'll get back to it. Was to say, no, this is the model that we are going to use from now on. And once you take that step, once that genie is out of the bottle, there's no putting it back, because we're hiring people now wherever they are in the world, which, by the way, what a fantastic way to hire a diverse organization, to give people in locations that maybe wouldn't have had the opportunities to work for a particular style and culture of business. And it doesn't matter where you are in the world, you know, as long as you can function synchronously and in a lot of cases asynchronously, then you can fit into this organization. And it's a level playing field. You know, previously we'd had a bunch of people would work in the field, work in different territories, and then there was the core headquarters. And if you're, you know, if you work in a field organization or a remote organization, you can't help but feel from time to time cut off and a little bit of a second-class citizen. Here, everybody's in the same boat. We are all working from home. We are all distributed. And I think acknowledging that and doubling down on it. And the way we went about it is, this is the decision, this is what we're going to do. Not 6 months of planning and then roll it out, but pretty early on, this is the decision. And as an organization, we will figure it out together. Everybody implicitly and explicitly was along on the journey, which I think was phenomenal. Whether by good design or whether we just serendipitously backed into it, it was absolutely the right approach. Everybody now is looking at it from the same vantage point. And it's, you know, now, for me personally, awesome. I've got a nice office in the basement of my house. I've got a teleprompter that I'm looking through. I don't have text on it, but I can look at my SLR camera and I can see your picture. I've got other laptops in front of me. I've got big screen monitors. I've got a lovely environment. I've got staff that live at home with their parents. I've got staff that have, you know, 2 or 3 roommates in a small apartment. I've got folks that, you know, providing care to, you know, ill members of the family or friends. I mean, you know, the landscape is very asymmetrical.
It's like we have to have a new empathy muscle develop.
Yeah, very much so. And, you know, what I also observed is, you know, I remember being on a call with, you know, a bunch of directors, and you know, they were like, oh yeah, you know, now I can work anywhere. You know, I'm living in an expensive apartment downtown, you know, insert name of major city here. And for the same money, I can go buy, you know, a 4,000 square foot, you know, house on a lake, you know, da, da, da. And everybody was sort of happy and talking about this and sharing pictures online. And I said, guys, be careful, because you can do all of that. But there's a lot of people that can't. Maybe they can afford to do it, but they've got kids in school. And for them to uproot and move into some other community is going to impact that education. Or they're taking care of family members, or they've got a spouse, they've got a significant other that doesn't have that ability to work from home, has to go into an office or will have to go back into an office. Just be careful. in terms of, your exuberance in that regard. Just be mindful that other people are in other situations. And I'm not saying, how you should behave. That's entirely up to you. Just be mindful about that. And I know that, there are some people that, are in tough situations, and working from home has exacerbated those negatives. Where at the other end of the scale, working from home is like, it's been a gift for certain people. And I think the ones that have received the gift and acknowledge the gift for what it is, be super mindful for everybody else. And for the folks that are in the tough situation, it's hard to ask for help. But when you ask for help, you'll be amazed. I believe in great human nature. I think, when you ask for help and when you show vulnerability, what everybody else sees is strength. And want to lean in and want to help, and not necessarily do things for you, but want to provide that support structure and take a lead from them. So I think these opportunities abound. We've just all got to learn and really tune up our ability to not just listen, but to hear. And we ain't going to get it right all the time. And when we know we've made a mistake, then there's an opportunity for, reconciliation and apology. That's fine. We're not going to get it right all the time because we're all figuring this out amongst ourselves. But listening and hearing and creating that space to have those conversations, super important. So it's not a mechanism. I'm not going to say, put it on Slack or create this channel and what have you. It's how we emotionally think about it and how we tie that emotional to the our intellectual capacity to understand the needs of the people around us and then help them out or create the space to meet those needs.